we're joined now by the Bluegrass State's own Daniel Cameron, running for the Senate seat to be vacated by Mitch McConnell next year. And first of all, I'll start with this. We have not talked about it a great deal, but I know the state of Kentucky, along with Missouri, was slammed by tornadoes over the last several days and over the last week. I'm sure that has been a major part of what you have been seeing and talking about in the state. How are people doing so far as you can tell us, Daniel?
Well, Clay, Buck, thank you guys for having us on. Yeah, it's, heartbreaking to see the lives lost in parts of our community, particularly in the Somerset and London community, Pulaski and Laurel County. It was obviously just completely heartbreaking to lose folks and the devastation that occurred. We've been encouraging people to help out the London Police Department. They're collecting goods. I've also encouraged people to go to Samaritan's Purse and American Red Cross. So there are a few different outlets, and obviously the community's local churches really vital to helping rebuild and getting folks back on their feet. But it's going to be a long process. In fact, I'll be down there on Saturday to visit with some folks. But yeah, thanks for bringing that up, because I know folks all across the country have been praying for those communities in particular. We had storms all across the state, but those communities in particular were hit really hard. So thank you for bringing that up. And if anybody wants to give to, again, the Samaritan's Purse, American Red Cross, local churches down in those areas, certainly would be grateful.
I know it's early, and the election is not until next year. That is the Republican primary to set up who's going to be running to replace Mitch McConnell on that side. But what does the focus seem to be to you so far as you travel the state of Kentucky and hear from people about the issues they care about the most?
Yeah, Clay, I think people want a senator from Kentucky that is going to stand with President Trump and help support an agenda that is about building back up our middle class and the working men and women of this country. President Trump campaigned on that. That's what this big, beautiful bill is about, is making sure that we can lower people's taxes so they have more money in their pockets. This is an administration that is about securing our border, fighting the drug epidemic. It's about creating energy independence in this country. That's a big deal in Kentucky. We are a commonwealth that, to the extent we have a competitive advantage, it's about our fossil fuels industry. It's coal and natural gas. And having a president in the White House that recognizes that in order to have energy independence, we have to have and prioritize our fossil fuels, that's a big deal. And so Kentuckians want a senator that's going to stand up for their values, fight for the Trump agenda, and I'm going to do that. And I've got a track record of having done that as Attorney General. There will be people that jump into this race, but what you will never hear somebody say is that there's going to be somebody that's more conservative and more supportive of the Trump administration than Daniel Cameron, because there's not going to be. I've shown it with my record, and I'm led by conviction. Right now in my current day job, I'm fighting diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm fighting against ESG, because these are convictions. These are core convictions for me. And I want to take that spirit and that energy to the United States Senate and fight on behalf of Kentuckians. And that's why I'm going to win. You're right. We're about a little less than a year away from the May primary. But I'm in a strong position given all the polling right now. I think the most recent poll had me up 30 points to my next closest competitor. We're going to win this primary, and we're going to win the general as well. And I want as many people to get on board as they possibly can. I tell people all the time, go to CameronForKentucky.com, check us out. Certainly would be grateful for the help and support.
When you ran against Andy Beshear in the governor's race, it seems like Andy Beshear is going to try to run for president of the United States in 2028. And I know you're running for the Senate, but when you look around at the candidates that the Democrat Party is putting forward, we talk a lot on this program about how young men, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, are breaking away from the Democrat Party. And, I really say men, younger than the age of 45, for instance, certainly 18 to 24-year-olds, it's off the charts. Why do you think that is, and do you see that reflected when you travel around in the state of Kentucky?
Absolutely. I mean, men in particular want somebody that's not going to demean them, is not going to belittle them, is not going to tell them that they are the problem in every circumstance. And President Trump spoke to men of all races. He spoke to men across this country in a way that, candidly, Republican and Democrat just hadn't done. And I think men have been gravitating to the Republican Party because, again, they're tired of a Democratic Party that belittles them and tells them, again, that they are the issue to every problem in this country. President Trump has been strong in support of, frankly, people of all walks of life. But the reason that men of different races have been coming to the Republican Party is because, again, this is a party that says, hey, it's okay to be a man, it's okay to be strong, it's okay to be a leader, and you don't have to apologize for that. And the Democrats, for whatever reason, have decided to double and triple down on this ideology that tells you it's okay for men to play in women's sports, that we somehow need to be afraid of masculinity. Again, President Trump says, let's disregard that. Let's focus on men being leaders, working hard, providing for their families. And I hear that from people all across Kentucky that are tired of the Democratic Party that, candidly has tried to diminish the importance of men in our society. Again, President Trump has recognized that, has looked for ways to make sure men know that this is a party that supports them and is going to value them.
We're talking to Daniel Cameron running for Senate in Kentucky. I don't know if you've seen this news yet, but you played college football at Louisville. There is news now that the top 12 teams are going to make the college football playoff in order. They're going to be seeded that way. That is just broken in the last 15 or 20 minutes. Do you expect, if you go on, and I think you will, become the next senator from Kentucky, do you expect that your Louisville Cardinal will, during your first term in office, make the college football playoff? Would that be an expectation in 6 years?
Clay, on the first point, I did play football at U of L, but play is a very generous term. I tell people all the time I had a front row seat to the best team in the house when I was sitting on the bench. But hey, man, hope springs eternal. I believe in Coach Brom. I believe wholeheartedly that within the first 6 years, we're going to have a U of L football team that is playing in the playoffs and hopefully competing ultimately for that national championship. That's my hope. Again, Coach Brom was one of the quarterbacks coaches when I was playing, and the Broms have a heart for not only the university but for the community, and I know that's on their heart to push and to strive to get us in that national championship game. So I'm hopeful that will happen. I'm hoping it'll happen on the earlier side of my term and not towards the end. Our fans are like Tennessee fans. They're like all fans. They want success immediately. So let's make sure we get them there early as opposed to the latter end of that first term.
All right, so last question for you. We just had the Kentucky Derby a couple of weeks ago. Buck and I were up there last year. It was fabulous. Now, I know you're a Louisville guy, but one of the coolest things, obviously, is the Derby. But also, Keeneland is pretty fabulous, and a lot of UK people tell me that the combo, and I still haven't done it, the combo of Kentucky football and Keeneland race day is one of the best days for a sports fan anywhere. Even as a U of L guy, even as a Louisville guy, would you give them that nod and say Keeneland plus UK football day is pretty tough to beat?
That is a hard day to beat, regardless of where you are in the country. I mean, there's no better atmosphere than spending a little time at Keeneland and then at the for a UK football game as well. And I'll just say, in that circumstance, not only do you get to tailgate once, but you get to tailgate twice because people tailgate before they go into Keeneland, and then you tailgate before you go into the football game. I don't think you can argue with that position. I'm excited to be in a commonwealth, in a state where we've got candidly like roughly two programs right now that like are really trying to get their act together. I mean, it makes the whole state better. I mean, you know how rivalries work, man. When both teams are playing well or, you know, trying to contend, whether it's in the SEC or the ACC, you know, that's a good thing for our state. So I'm hopeful that, you know, next time you guys decide to come up for the combo, man, you're going to invite me to tag along with you.
We're going to try to do it this fall. I'm looking forward to it. Daniel Cameron, where can people find you if they're interested in following along with the Senate race?
Yeah, look, again, I encourage your listeners to go to CameronForKentucky.com. Join us. Help us. If you want to give us some financial support, we'd be grateful for that as well. But, again, this is for our kids and our grandkids. This is for making sure we have a merit-based opportunity to society as opposed to what we've seen from the DEI bunch. This is about restoring that American dream, helping President Trump push forward on his agenda for the American worker, for the men and women of this Commonwealth and country. So I hope you'll join us. Come on and let's go win this thing.
Outstanding stuff, as always. We appreciate you, and we will talk to you again soon. Good luck on the campaign.
I appreciate you, brother. God bless you.
That's Daniel Cameron. You can check him out as he just laid it out. And Buck is going to be back here in a sec, and I'm going to really let him kind of pour his sorrows out as a longtime New York Knicks fan with the collapse that they had in last night's game. But Oklahoma City is rolling right now. Minnesota Timberwolves are in the mix. We got 4 different teams still alive in the NHL. And if you're a Major League Baseball fan, pretty much every night you've got a big game to be able to follow. Why not go ahead and get hooked up? You can play along with Prize Picks. You get $50 when you place a $5 game pick. All you have to do, use my name, Clay. You get $50. Not very many times we say as part of an advertisement, hey, if you go to prizepicks.com, use code Clay. When you play $5, you'll get back $50. That's a 10-to-1 return. You can play in California. You can play in Texas. You can play in Georgia. Super easy, 30 states plus 13 million people have downloaded this app. All you have to do is pick more or less on your favorite athletes, put them together, 2 to 6 different combos, and you can be well on your way to having an awesome time. PrizePicks.com, code Clay. That is PrizePicks.com, code Clay.